collab stuff is usually real time. I get the call, hey, we're in a meeting now, it's breaking up. Webex allows you to do that. Look at those calls in real time and respond right there through that interface. Again, we'll go into some of that at the end. We'll check, see if that's not degraded. So in one of my favorite devices, I've got one here. This is mine from my personal office. I travel with it a lot. It's got the handy little handle and back to pick it up, and 5 different colors available. This is a Desk Mini. And to me, this is the ultimate mobile worker device. It's got all the great sound and video technology built in, from the high definition 4K camera on top with a physical privacy shutter. Something my laptop got rid of that I'm not real happy about. I'm kind of a privacy nut. My laptop's got this electric one that I just don't trust, and this has the physical one. Anyhow, some more buttons on the side for audio as you saw me turn it down, or to mute, which I appreciate because I get into different meetings and the mute button is all over the place. So having a physical one there is nice. Another nice thing about the Mini, it's the first device I'm going to talk about that joins everything. We're going to get into the interoperability here, but it's got buttons. There's one over there, there's mine here. You can look at them on the display screen. They've got buttons to join Microsoft Teams, Webex, Google Meetings, Zoom meetings right on the home screen. So I spend most of my day in meetings, jumping from one to the other. When they're in-house or with Cisco, it's all Webex, easy enough. I use the app, I use my device, that's what I do all day. But a lot of my meetings are with customers or with other vendors. I get Teams, I get Zoom. Probably my least favorite is Microsoft Teams. For whatever reason, it likes to grab my camera, it likes to grab my microphone, and it owns it until I reboot. So jumping to the next meeting means I got to reboot. Could be a me problem, but it's what I'm faced with. With the Mini, I have a join button. The next meeting, I have a join button. It doesn't matter if I'm going from Zoom to Webex, I just hit join, or I say that, hey Webex, join my meeting, and instantly it goes into it. So it's very convenient, built in with integration to my calendar, controlled through Control Hub. It is a very nice device, and its partner in the desktop space is the Desk Pro over there. There's a smaller version of the Desk Pro that's a 23-inch. That one is a 27. The touchscreen is phenomenal on there. It's got the stylus on the side. If you guys get a chance, I definitely encourage you to use that. Got a little extra in that one, in that it can be used for a desk or a huddle space. How many people are familiar with huddle spaces? Kind of a unique term. Usually a small space that's for 1, 2, or 4 people at most. And so I've seen these at the Cisco offices hung up on the wall in this what looked like a little closet. And I thought, that's weird. What are they doing with that thing in there? And what would happen is people that just want a little privacy would sit down, and you've got this video unit right in front of you. It detects from your app that you're there. It becomes your unit instantly. And when you're done, you walk out. I thought, that's kind of a cool concept. It's in a mobile workforce. We have people working in the cafeteria, huddled around just a table like this. To get a little privacy, it's almost like a phone booth. They walk in and have their video call, their engagement, and then walk out, and it's ready for the next person. So that's the Desk Pro. And here's where we talk about the interoperability. We've got the hard to read slide, but here's the different buttons for Zoom, Teams, Google Meetings, Webex, some of your whiteboarding stuff, but then they also stack up when it's with your calendar. You can see we've got a Webex meeting, a Teams meeting, and a Google meeting scheduled one after the other. So right off that screen, tap and go. And then Microsoft registration. So I think this is the first of those QR codes. That's a 4-minute video, if I remember right, so I didn't want to play that whole thing, but this is about using the Cisco devices on Microsoft natively, running Microsoft Teams Room operating systems. So those of you that are on Teams, they will integrate in. That video gives a good rundown of what that looks like, the native interface, along with some whiteboarding. And right now, the 4K camera is certified, the couple headsets there listed, the Room Kit Pro, which will show, the bar will show next, and that Desk Pro are expected anytime now in early 2023, and then more devices will be added the next set midsummer there. All right, the Webex room bar is another new entry. So this is a Webex bar that has a codec built in that does a lot of cool features. And first one I'm going to hit on is the video. So focused, group, framing, speaker track, and of course presets and manual have been around for a while. The focused is a neat one. I see a lot of people zoom in, hitting the manual controls in rooms, trying to bring it to you. This automatically focuses in on the group of people, cropping out the rest of the surrounding. Or I say, it goes to the individual user, the next one does the group of people. So you set in conference rooms and you've seen the empty white space and you can hardly see the people at the other side. This fixes that problem. Framing and speaker track. Framing cuts up the individuals. If you have 3 people at a table, it makes them 3 separate participants in the meeting so that you can see them a little bit closer and more natural. And then speaker track, if you like to wander around and talk, it follows you. We had one of our account managers talking the other day. He hates to sit, and so he uses his mini sitting at his table, and he's just roaming around, and the thing follows him flawlessly to let him go. So. Noise canceling, noise modes, it has 3. The rest of the devices, neutral or none, which just allows everything through. So if you're playing a guitar, music, and you want all that to come through, that's great. Noise canceling cuts out all the background noise, so like the dog that Jason's talking about. And then there's the optimize for my voice, which I really like because I've got grandkids running around the house. So I put on a virtual background, no one sees them running around. And optimize for my voice eliminates all other voices in my environment except for mine. Using AI, it focuses in on me and my voice only. So I can sit here with this device and be in my kitchen with the grandkids having breakfast and running all around and know the difference. The virtual background blocks it out. The noise canceling takes care of all that, allowing me to really work anywhere. Could take the same thing into a Starbucks, a hotel lobby, and it just looks and works beautifully. So I want to show those layouts because it's hard to describe and it's easier to show.
People Focus utilizes the intelligence that is built into our cameras to dynamically update the screen layout to ensure that you get the best view in a meeting, regardless of where you join from. People Focus is a layout option on your Webex device, taking you from a traditional view like this to this. A much better experience for everyone. We are now extending this intelligence to enhance the view that remote participants get of your meeting room. And this is what you're probably used to seeing. Now, this is the view that you will get, even when joining third-party meeting platforms. Webex by Cisco makes hybrid work more inclusive, blurring the lines between home and the office.
So if you caught the last part there, that works on Webex meetings and all other meetings platforms using these devices. So whether you register it to a Microsoft meeting or you're just joining a Microsoft meeting, that technology is built into the device, and so it allows your meeting to have those features. So there's 3 different flavors of the room kits I've got up here. The room kit being the smaller of the systems, the room EQ doing the mid-size, and then the Pro there being the integration. They all have multiple TV microphone inputs, allowing for desk microphones as well as ceiling mics. Kick over to the next one, show some of these things. So these are the table mics, ceiling mics, which it looks enormous. It's not that big, but then some of the sharing cables, which is kind of cool because you never know if someone's going to show up with Apple, a USB-C, or an HDMI device. It's just one cable that sits on the table and allows them to plug in. Of course, if it's a Webex meeting, Webex room, you've got the wireless sharing available as well. And then over in the far left there is the room navigator. That's a neat little device that can set on the tabletop and act as a room control, giving you the start, stop, meeting, camera, all those different controls you'd be used to. They can also set outside the room and act as a reservation device. Can tell if the room is occupied or not, what's scheduled. You can book the room off that device. So often when I go to our Indianapolis office, I forget to book a room till I get there. So I walk up, available, I book it. It asks me till when, 5 o'clock, done. I own the room the rest of the time without opening my laptop, getting into the calendar, everything else. And the third thing they allow for that is to be used kind of as a web browser or an app engine, as they call it. And you can set those things in different places. Maybe you have a place that you have a microphone and a podium and you want controls up there. You can set that there to do camera controls, to do room controls, or maybe it's doing other things, but they work as touch panels to run custom apps. Some of those through AppSpace, some you can create on your own or find on the internet there. So. So many devices. I feel like I say everyone's my favorite, but it feels like as I go through this deck, I remember something I like about every one of them. So this is the Webex Board Pro 75. It can be mounted like on the wheeled kit here, or take the wheels off and it's just a standing unit, or it can be wall mounted. We've got this unit wall mounted in our Indianapolis office and on wheels in our Granger lower level. The Granger lower level a large conference area, and we had the traditional big screen front, camera up there, speakers throughout. And when we installed this device, we put it down there and I put it in place, had a high top table. And as we started to move it around, we found the mobility. Having it on wheels was a huge advantage that we didn't have with our previous board. We were able to change the room around, how it looked from event to event. That room changed, the board changed with it, but always performed amazingly. So it has the same features. It can cut up the video group, make it into individual frames. It does all the noise suppression you'd expect. It can have external microphones if you need further coverage, but honestly that board does an exceptional job. I think it's a 8 microphone array or something in there that it uses to really get the noise controlled. Of course, whiteboarding capabilities are awesome. So you can pair this thing with a room kit. And that's what we've done in our Indianapolis office, to put the Room Kit Pro at one end, dual screens, and on the opposite wall we have a 55-inch version of this. And that allows for a very cool room setup where you can do whiteboarding on one end and still maintain that natural video look on the other. And that whiteboarding can be shared among multiple locations. So we can have engineers up in our Granger office as well as Indianapolis, both whiteboarding at the same time for either customers who are remotely or physically in our offices, all through Webex, and it's seamless in the way it shares and able to communicate there. So pretty cool device.